They were invented to serve the miners who worked in cold water, their woolen pants going to pieces rapidly. So Levi Strauss designed pants made from sailcloth and copper rivets. These stood up under the hard work in the water much better than anything known before. A cowboy wore the toughest pants he could find, and over them chaps of leather, or often simply of cowhide with the hair still on. Chaps were also made from goatskins and sheepskin. Kingfisher, a gunfighting bandit, once held up a circus and killed a tiger so he could have tiger skin chaps. The chaps were worn to protect the legs in case of a fall, but more often than that, because of the stiff brush a cowhand often encountered. When a steer broke with the brush, a good cutting horse would go after him, plunging in heedless of its rider. Therefore the cowboys wore not only chaps, but heavy jackets as well, and leather cuffs to protect the wrists. The cuffs also protected the roper from rope burns. Many cowboys also wore gloves. They called those fellows that rode in the brush country brush poppers, and it was a very risky thing. You never knew what you were going to run into, because nearly everything in Texas has a thorn on it, either a thorn or a sting. The boots were a very essential part of cow country wear, and had sharp-pointed toes to permit them to get the toe into the stirrup quickly, and high heels to prevent the foot slipping through the stirrup. In the early days of riding and ranching, very few of the horses were more than half broken, and likely to start bucking the moment a cowboy swung a leg over the saddle. Consequently, he wanted that pointed toe to slip easily into the stirrup, and the high heel to prevent slipping too far. The usual practice was to bring cattle or horses in off the range, and there'd be one guy in the outfit usually who was a pretty good rider, and he would do what they called break the rough string. He would saddle up these unbroken horses and ride them until they stopped pitching, and that horse was considered broken. Then he'd be left there for the next cowboy to have his own little time with him, and very few of the cowboys liked a horse that wouldn't buck, and most of them did buck in the morning, especially when it was frosty. A thoughtful rider always took his bit to the fire and warmed it a little bit before he put it in the horse's mouth. Sometimes he'd wear it inside his shirt for a while. In the earliest days, one could tell where a cowboy was from by the kind of outfit he wore, and often by the horse he rode. In the north, where the snow could be deep, they needed larger horses and warmer clothing. Woolly chaps were rarely seen in the Texas country, but were often found in Montana, Wyoming, or the Dakotas. The saddles used by cowboys and ranchmen were derived from the saddle used by the Moors who conquered Spain. It was a saddle also derived in part from that used by the knights in armor, who required a firm seat for using the lance. The English saddle was of no use to a working cowboy, for his saddle was not only where he spent most of his time, but was his workbench as well. For roping steers he needed the same firm seat a knight would have needed for a tournament, and a pommel by which he could take a turn with his rope, or tie fast, depending on what part of the country he came from. The average cowboy would work 12 to 18 hours a day and think nothing of it if he could work from a saddle. Give him a job on foot and he was thoroughly unhappy and ready to quit. Yet as the years changed and ranges became fenced, he found himself spending much of his time digging post holes or stretching barbed wire. Punching cows is not a bygone thing, as some seem to imagine. There are hundreds of cowboys working today in a dozen different states, punching cows much as they used to. They often drive trucks or jeeps part of the time, and some even fly. But then as now, a cowboy is at his best and happiest when he's up in the middle of a good horse.